What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Giselle and I have a very special guest on here today for you all. We have Lynn here. She is from Instagram. She is a sonography student. I really love her story. If you go to her page, you can see how positive and motivating she is. And so I'm going to just have her on here to talk about her journey. She is currently in her program. And yeah, I'm just excited for you all to hear about her and hopefully go and follow her so you can also have her in your journey as well. So Lynn, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Giselle. It was nice to virtually meet you. And I love your videos that you have, and I love following your stories with your workouts along with sonography. Very motivating to see that you're working out. So that's my future when I have time to work out.
Oh yeah, it'll be your future for sure. So where are you from? Let's let everybody know where you're based out of.
I am based out of New York City, currently living there. I'm originally from Connecticut, so I'm an East Coaster.
You're living the life out there. Oh my gosh, I've always been so interested in East Coast life because obviously I'm over here in the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say East Coast is the best coast? Because we all down here say West Coast is the best coast.
I've lived in California recently, and I like it. I used to hate it because I'm used to the 4 seasons and I miss the sunshine. It's all the time. So I miss the snow and the rain. So I'm appreciating the seasons more.
Yeah. Aw. Well, were you planning on doing ultrasound out there in the East Coast? Is that why your program's over in New York?
No, I moved back from California to New York. It was from my previous job. So I just lived here. So I don't know after this program where I'm gonna be, but definitely not New York City because I'm done with New York City.
Really?
I'm enjoying it for now.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I watched To All the Boys and they basically said New York is the place to be in your younger years.
Yes, definitely. I'm not in my younger years anymore. So I'm check done next.
Let's fill in everybody about your journey. When did you start?
How I came about to sonography. So basically last year, I was furloughed like everyone. I was in retail. I was furloughed, I was quarantining, and then my dad fell ill in the summer. And then I had to go back to Connecticut to help with my parents and taking care of my dad, driving him to his doctor's appointment and other tests and scans and stuff. So the first test he had to do was an ultrasound. So that was my first exposure to all of the healthcare field. And I found that he had a mass. So it turns out a month later he had gastric cancer. He had a partial gastrectomy done. He's okay now. He's cancer free as of last week. So yay. And during that time I was taking care of him, I was thinking maybe I can do a career change and looking into different allied health professions, because I only know of doctors, PAs, nurses. I didn't know a lot of these professions until I went to my dad's procedures with him. I was looking up schools around New York to see which programs were accredited and what would work for me. So I found this program in Brooklyn that's because I have a BA in psychology. So that doesn't really flow well into the sciences and everything. So I have to figure out all the prereqs that I need to take and what I can do. And this program in Brooklyn, they offer it together with the clinical experience. A very intensive, it's intensive training program. I found this program and the school is relatively close. It's in Brooklyn. I applied. It was a smooth process. I interviewed and got in, super excited. And now I'm here 6 weeks? Yes, 6 weeks in of my first quarter. I still have 6 more quarters to go.
You're just in the beginning of your journey.
Yeah, just in the beginning.
That's so exciting. I mean, this is it, right? I mean, once you get in, it's almost just okay, get through the classes and, get the grades. But once you're in, it's like you're just continuously trying to pass. And I mean, it'll go by fast. I know you have a long ways to go, but I promise it'll be worth it.
It seems like it's going by fast because I'm studying for finals already. That's crazy because once finals is done, then we have labs the next quarter, and then third quarter is when we start clinicals, and we have 4 quarters of clinicals, and then I'm done. I was like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Are you doing general?
Echo and vascular.
Go vascular. Okay.
I know you're general, right?
Yeah. I'm general, but in the West Coast, most of the programs teach general with vascular. So, but I know over there on the East Coast, it's different. I know there's also the general or then the echovascular track.
There are multiples, but with my school, what they said is that you learn everything. So echo, vascular, abdomen, OBGYN, but the track is where you do your clinicals. So my clinicals will be focusing on echo and vascular.
You're still going to learn abdomen and OBGYN?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's why I like a lot about this program, because you learn everything. It's just your clinicals is where, your concentration is.
So maybe down the line, if you end up wanting to do abdomen OBGYN, maybe you can.
Maybe.
So I saw that, I know you said that time's going by fast. I saw that you had just did your midterms.
Yes.
So how did that go?
That was a stressful week because I was also working. I was working. I recently quit, as you saw. Thank God. But I was juggling work for like 6 weeks, the first part of the quarter, and that was really tough. I was like, I kept thinking, like, how do people do this? I admire them so much, like especially mothers in the program when they have kids. That's something I know personally I cannot do. So my midterms, the good thing about it is that once we take the midterms, we don't have any other assignments. So 3 of my classes is just studying and then taking the midterms. My other 2 classes is a prereq, so I take physics and anatomy and physiology with a sister school. So my school partners with their sister school that provides all the prereqs for all their allied health programs. So which is math, English. I have that transfer from my last university, so I didn't have to take that. But physics and anatomy and physiology, I still have to do homework and discussions on them. But if that and studying, and then I was working on my, like right after my midterms, and then the day after, I was like, I cannot do this. But it was a stressful week, but I'm glad that was over.
So I was actually going to touch up on that. I did see that you did quit your full-time job to be a full-time student. So that's like the main question that people ask before they go into the program. They ask, okay, can we do this program while working full-time? And I know you mentioned the full-time mothers. Obviously, we all know it's doable, but for you, what was your decision making as far as quitting your job to just become a full-time student?
So I wanted to see how I can do with school because my classes are currently online. I know that by the time labs rolls around and we have to go in school for labs, I would have to reduce my hours at least, if not quit. So I wanted to see how much I can do or what I can handle. And I noticed that it was like I was working in the front desk and urgent care in Upper East Side with crazy patients. And I'm like, I cannot handle this unnecessary stress when I'm already stressing about my program, right? So I'm like, I need to what's more important, stress about my program or stress about these patients that I don't know? So that was the ultimate decision where I wanted to solely focus on school because I'm committed to this program. I made a decision for it and I'm passionate on becoming a sonographer and I want to do it 110%. So that was the decision. And I get a lot of DMs asking, are you able to work while going to school or with this program that I'm in? And I was honest, I'm like, I'm currently working. However, I'm planning to quit soon because we will have labs and clinicals. And that is 2 to 3 days a week, and that's 8 hours a day. So I'm not sure if you can do it, but for me, I know my limits, and you can do what's best for you.
Yeah.
And that's how I answer to all my DMs when they ask about working and school.
Yeah, it's truly up to the person. Also, it's up to your job as well, right? I mean, it
Yes.
can go all different ways. Your urgent care, I mean, I know that's stressful in itself. And then, I mean, there are some people who are just like servers in a restaurant, or people
Mm-hmm.
who are just doing like retail in a clothing store, which, yes, customer service, and there are some crazy customers. Personally worked throughout my college,
Mm-hmm.
like the whole thing. And so, it's really up to the person. And I give you props for doing that and making the decision for yourself, because it is a tough decision to ultimately get there to the point where you're like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on school, because that's a main concern for a lot of people.
Yes. And you worked throughout your whole program. What did you do?
Yeah, so I was a server. I mean, I feel like they understand more only because there are a lot of employees when you're a server.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of times people who are servers are also going to school. The one place that I worked at, they were open to people who were students, and they had like 40, 50 servers. So really it was kind of just like,
Okay.
give me the days you want and you can work those days. Now, my lab at that time was only like twice a week, I think. And then my clinical in lab for our program, we didn't have classes, so it was just lab. So I was able to still work. And then in clinicals, they were 5 days a week. So 5 days a week I was doing clinicals, and 3 days I was working. So it was tough. But I took those 3 days of me working as, okay, here's a break, a break from scanning. It was so simple. Like, it wasn't something that was stressful. And so I feel like that was really lucky for me. But a lot of people don't have that, that kind of job. I know people who have full-time jobs, people who work 8-hour shifts, 10-hour shifts, and they won't have the time to study or go to clinicals or do their labs. And sometimes you have to quit your job, and that's unfortunately something you have to do for your future. But yeah, that's a really good topic for people to think about for themselves, especially those who need a job to pay for school or their living or their family. And sometimes it's hard if, like, say, who aren't able to just give up on their job and career for going to another career. It's a really a decision each person has to think about individually. So it's hard when we have to give them advice, right?
Yes.
But at the end of the day, everyone, do what's best for you, like Lynn said, because we don't know your situation, only you know your situation.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you for your insight on that, because that is like, I see these questions on Facebook, and I'm like, no matter what anyone says, at the end of the day, it's, can you handle it? So now, knowing what you know now, I mean, you're going into this program, it all seems so quick and fast. Do you think it's easy for people to get into this field? I mean, you found out during the pandemic, right? And did your career change? And look at you now. Like, that was so fast. So what are your opinions on this whole ultrasound? It's kind of hard to get in, it's competitive, blah blah blah.
I I think it is competitive depending on where you are. Like definitely the job outlook for sonography is going up tremendously because of everything that's going on and so many interests is going into it. I know that there are other schools that offers it, but the requirements are there. I was fortunate enough to find a school that accepts my bachelor's with some prerequisites, and then they do offer other prerequisites. So that way I can be in the program, start the career while catching up. I want to say 50-50. It is competitive because the workload is very rigorous. My cohorts right now, like some of them are struggling, even though they got into the program. It's also how I think the mentality is like, if you're passionate, if you're really going for it, then you can do this despite how hard it is. I think all of us will make it. So the competitive is there, but it's doable.
Right. I agree. If you think about it, there's 50 states. There's a ton of programs. The whole argument of non-accredited versus accredited programs, I totally get that. But at the end of the day, it's, does this school or program provide you with the tools and necessities for you to become a sonographer? Will they allow
Hmm.
you to sit down for ARDMS and become a registered diagnostic medical sonographer? Because that's all you really need in a program.
Yes.
So there, I have heard of wait lists of 600 students. I've heard of wait lists of 6 to 7 years. There are, if you really want this job, you may need to go somewhere else. You may need to go to a different location, find another program. If the one near you has a 6, 7 year wait list, come on now, you can find another program where you can get in just like you did. It's kind of interesting. But I definitely do know that ultrasound is going up, and I can see the interest growing. We already knew to grow. We already knew like years ago that it was going to grow. But now with the pandemic and everything, I think it's going to grow even faster. I don't know. I just feel like it's just becoming more like other jobs besides nurses and doctors. Like, the nurse and the doctor is like the main thing people think about when they think about medical, but now people are thinking about radiology, respiratory, EKG, I mean phlebotomy. And I think it's important for people to do their research before they just like jump into wanting to do nursing or becoming a doctor, because there's so much more out there.
Yes, exactly. I totally agree. That's why I didn't, I was like, let's do, I was like, maybe do PA. And I was like, I'm not invested that much for that schooling. It's like, I'm a little bit older. I know what I want and I know what works for me. So this profession would work best for me now. And I totally agree with you on like geographically, like where you are matters for your program. Like for me, I think the reason that I was able to be accepted into a program so quickly and everything's moving so quickly is because I'm in the city where it was the hotspot for COVID. So there are lots of jobs opening. There are lots of programs opening up just to get more people to learn to become or part of like healthcare to help out with whatever's going on. And God forbid if we live through another pandemic, we're prepared. I hope not. Knock on wood.
Right. No, I actually asked my supervisor, I was like, do you think there's gonna be another pandemic? 'Cause, like, I don't know. It's too crazy. But I'm glad that it has opened a lot of people's eyes, to be honest, and also opened more opportunity for people who do want to be in the healthcare field. I know many people who have switched over just like you, or have thought about going into healthcare because of everything that's been going on. I mean, and that says a lot too, right? Being a healthcare professional is more than just the money. It is, do you have the passion and the motivation to want to be there and take care of your patients or do better for humanity? Because we are not looking at people's skin colors or ethnicities or backgrounds or political views, religious views. When you walk through those doors, we are taking care of you, whoever you are. And I think being in the healthcare profession, that's a really big deal, because it honestly, the world is just too crazy right now.
Yes, too many crazy things going on. And I think the healthcare field is very unbiased because despite what you look like, what you do, what you believe, inside our bodies is the same organs, same system that's working, functioning. And that's one of the other reasons why I wanted to do sonography, besides like, my first exposure to it was because of my dad and his whole situation. And it's because he had an amazing medical team during his care. And I want to be a part of that medical team for someone else. So this is one way of me doing it. So I was
Yeah.
like, excited.
And you're being there for your patients, which I love. And honestly, sonographers, they really do care about their patients. They do care about their job and what they're doing for that patient. Because as you know, with ultrasound, if we don't see it, doctors don't see it. So we do try our best to give the best patient care. And at the same time, we all love our job. It's a very, very good job. So with all that being said, what's like a daily or weekly, like what do you do in your program? And then what keeps you motivated throughout all of this? Because I know it's very rigorous, like you said.
So for my program this quarter is like I said, it's mainly just prerequisites and like intro to, or this class is called fundamentals to sonography. It's where we learned about HIPAA, what we're gonna do at clinicals, and all that administrative stuff. I also have this class which is cross-sectional anatomy that I love. That class is we have one live lecture a week, and then everything else is online. For online classes, I'm also taking medical terminology, which is fun, but a lot of memorization. And everything else is just weekly assignments, weekly discussions, polls, replies, and so I juggle that. I'm not a good studier. Like, I'm a horrible student. I don't have like fancy notebooks, planners, calendars, because I've tried that so many times and I always just disregard it within 2 weeks. So what I do now is that I know when it's due, and then I make sure that I do it beforehand. Mondays are my busiest days because that's when I have my live lecture and then the assignment that goes with that class. And then I have 4 discussion posts to do for the week, and I try to do at least 3 of it on Mondays so that I have the next 2 days to post a reply. And then make sure to do all the replies by Friday so that I can have like the weekend free. I'm not very like strict with myself on what times or when I need to post it, as long as I get myself done, because I live with my partner and I need to wash the dishes, go grocery shopping, make lunch, make dinner, clean, and all that stuff. Do all my chores basically, and like try to figure out how to study then too. That's also why I quit, because I need that time.
Yeah, that's a lot. That you're very busy and it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just the same exact way. I always try to like be organized and stuff, but it's really hard. And you kind of just have to do it. You just have to know when things are due and just do it. Don't procrastinate. Like just get your stuff done.
Yes.
What keeps you motivated throughout this whole thing?
I just remember, one of the things I remember is that like once I decided that I'm going to do sonography, I have that like renewed sense of purpose, because I was pretty kind of defeated when I was furloughed and like everything's going like up in like the air. It's like, don't know what's going on with the world. And I'm like, I'm gonna do this. So I'm like super excited, and the support of my loved ones, and none of this experience would be possible without their support and the people that I've connected with through my Instagram page. You current sonographers that I get to see like a glimpse inside your daily life, and that's how my future could be. And I was like, that gets me excited. And then seeing current students, some having finals and all that stuff, and the encouragement that we send to each other, it keeps me motivated, because you see other students from, say, Texas is going through the same thing that you are going through, and you've never met them before, but you're going through the same thing. So it's just like, I'm doing something and I'm part of a community that supports one another. And I think it's very good that I get exposed to this from my Instagram page, because I'm seeing more sonography pages. Another thing is that I met my cohorts through my Instagram page, because, you know, like, we're at home, stuck at home, studying online. We don't know anyone. I met my cohorts who's in my program, in my track. I also connected with cohorts who are in my program, but on different tracks. So we're able to talk to each other to see how our track is doing, how their track is doing. And I just connected with another person who's in the same school, but on a different program. So that's just like I'm so like amazed at how I can be so exposed to like different people from different backgrounds. And that is what my main motivation for this program, because I see so many different experiences, and I was like, I could do it too. And that motivated me every single day, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. It does. It really does. It's truly the community. I always say it's like your support system, who's cheering you on, who's behind you. And that's why I really love this community. Social media is also, while it's bad, it's also good. and you are here spreading all this positivity, motivational stuff on your Instagram. So you guys, if you haven't checked her out yet, she is over there, DMS Diaries, correct?
Yes, it is
So
a diary for me.
yeah, I think that's so cute. So if you are on Instagram, you guys definitely, I'll put her link in the description box below so you can go over there and follow her and even ask her. I'm sure she's willing to answer all your questions in her DMs. So don't be afraid to go follow her for some positivity and motivational stuff, which we all love here in this community. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for, starting your page and for coming on here and sharing your story. It's really, really helpful. I'm sure it will inspire so many. And I just hope that you keep on growing and keep on pushing through. And hopefully, when you're at the finish line, we can have you back on the channel.
Thank you so much for having me. I watch your videos and I see the comments, and it's like your community is so, like I said, like positivity is what I strive for, and it's like very positive and very encouraging. Like for incoming students, I recommend incoming students to subscribe to this channel because you do provide a lot of information for prospective students.
Thank you. I really do try my best. But I do this for you guys, and obviously nobody is making us or telling us to do this. We are all doing this just out of the bottom of our hearts of wanting to help you guys. And I see you doing it too. You are motivating others. Any tips or advice that you want to give for people who want to go into this career field or get into their programs?
Besides subscribing to this channel, because it does help me.
Um,
Um, I would say be positive because anything can happen. Just be positive that you know you get through it. And also do your research. We are here to give recommendations, give you our experiences. I don't have as much experience as Giselle does, but as I go through my journey, I will share with you. If you like, I have a lot of people sliding to my DMs, asking questions, and I will tell them as much as I can and just gather all the information that you can so that you can figure out what's best for you and what will work, what you will not compromise, and just figure it out. And it doesn't hurt to ask questions and just to gather information. But despite what happens, just be positive and just keep going.
Yes, I love it so much. Great advice. Is there anything else you want to let anyone know before we make sure they go to your Instagram and follow you?
I would have questions for you because
Oh,
I
yeah,
was watching your videos and have questions.
sure.
Um, how long have you been a sonographer?
So I've been a sonographer since 2017. So this is my fourth year, and I have loved it every step of the way. They say once you get to 5 years, you're pretty much a full-on sonographer who should be able to scan everything and know everything. But honestly, I'm still learning every single day, and it's just so much fun.
Like you asked me, why did you choose sonography?
So I chose sonography because I wanted to help people in the medical field. At first, I wanted to be a nurse, but I volunteered at a hospital, and then I was like, I don't think this is for me. My mom is a nurse as well, so I know how hard nurses work. Nurses, they are amazing. They do amazing things. I didn't know if I could do the things that nurses could do, and that's why I'm not a nurse. And so, I'm glad I had that opportunity to volunteer and to see what it's like, but I had to figure out, okay, what am I going to do now? And then so one of my sorority sisters, she introduced me into sonography because she was in the program. And then boom, just from there, just like you, I switched over, started the classes, did the intro to radiology, learned more about it, and then got my prereqs done. But for us, we had to do prereqs first and then apply to the program. Applied to the program, and the rest was history.
That is amazing.
Yeah, I really, really, I want to help others and take care of people. I think that's something that a lot of sonographers have in common. But also we also, we're very, I think all sonographers on the inside are very competitive. They are confident and almost like very like, I don't know, because to be a sonographer you have to really know what you're doing, right? And so I think a lot of
Yeah.
sonographers are very, very confident. And for people who go into this thinking that they're afraid, that's what school is for. That's what lab and clinical is for. It will teach you how to be confident. But a lot of us aren't. We're very confident in what we do, and I think it's a great field for anyone who likes anatomy to get into because it's all anatomy, right?
You need to know where your organs are and what it does. And my instructor said this the other day. The main objective of sonography is to know what's normal and abnormal.
Correct.
That's with me today.
Yes, you have to know normal. Okay, when people ask me, I always say, they always are like, oh, how do you know what you're looking at? Or how do you know how to find things? And I'm like, well, if you scan 1,000 normal people or 1,000 normal spleens, when you see something wrong, you'll know it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you'll know it. And if you have a good mentor and someone who teaches you how to scan pretty well, you just have to finagle your probe to get that organ, but everyone's organs should be in the same spot. So if they're
Should.
not there, something's going on,
Mhm.
had it removed, or there's some abnormality happening, So you scan all your normals in lab, you get situated in clinicals by finding some random things like cysts or like stones. And like those are the first times you'll see something like, whoa, that's not supposed to be there, you know? And then as you just see gallstones every single day of your life, you're like, oh, that's a
Mhm.
gallstone. That's gallstone. That's gall, you know? So yeah, it's kind of as you get exposure and the more you scan, it gets easier because everyone's supposed to have a liver in there. And it should be up here in the right side. That's where it should be. So as long as you know your normal pathology will come, when you get abnormal stuff, it'll be a little bit easier. But yeah, there are hard days. There are hard days where you're like, what is that? Like, what am I looking at? But it's not normal.
Mhm. I have one last question if you have time.
Yeah, go ahead.
How does your love for Disney come about?
Ooh, wow, that's a good question. Okay, so my Instagram was before it was like ultrasound, it was like all Disney stuff. But from a little baby, it's my parents' fault because they put me in Disney clothes. I think it's my parents' fault. But I've seen pictures of me as a baby, child, growing up in Disney stuff. My mom loves Winnie the Pooh. So I think it was just kind of instilled in us. I mean, me and my older sister, when we were younger, would dress up as Disney characters for Halloween. So it's really what your parents do to you, honestly. And then as I grew up, I just still love Disney, like Disney movies, Disney show. I would watch Disney Channel. I'd watch like Lizzie McGuire, all the old school 90s, early 2000s, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, just everything that's on Disney Plus right now. We would watch growing up. Then high school came, and I remember going to Disneyland for choir, and then I just loved it ever since. After high school, I was going to Disneyland like pretty often with some friends, but it wasn't until 2015 where I got an annual pass for Christmas. And staying, like, because I got an annual pass, we were like, dude, we have to go every single month. Like, we have to go as much as we can. And since then, since 2015, I've been a pretty hardcore Disneyland fanatic. And I remember joining like the Instagram community of Disney, and it's just huge. I'm just obsessed with it. I love it so much. And I just love the stories and just the meanings to everything in Disney, right? They all have some kind of uplifting reasoning, something, it's all relatable. And I just love Disney so much. It's just funny because my boyfriend doesn't care for Disney, but I love Disney so much. Like if you look at my room, it's all Disneyed out. So yeah, I just you know how some people are obsessed with cars or they're obsessed with shoes.
Mhm.
I'm obsessed with Disney.
It seems like there's a lot of fun stuff down there or on the West Coast. I went to Disneyland once. That was when I lived in California when I was 9. And
Um,
then because of I used to work in retail, so I worked for an international retailer. I started in Boston. They moved me to California. I didn't had a chance to go to Disneyland at all. I was just I stayed in the Bay Area the entire time. So I was like, it's so sad.
I
But
know.
next time I'm sure I'll go.
Yeah, it's kind of far. That's like probably what, 6 or 7 hours from Anaheim, I think.
Yes, I think it was like route was it Highway 5? It's like 5.5 hours.
Yeah, so
But yeah.
long.
But I get to take the Pacific Highway, which is really, really gorgeous.
Yes.
I was there. I was there last fall because my partner is from California, so
Mhm.
we got there and then we drove down south. Was at San Diego. It was really nice.
Mhm.
Um, I want to go back to Las Vegas too because I went to Las Vegas in January 2019. It was one of my best girlfriends. We went to see Magic Mike.
Oh, I still haven't seen that. Was that
It was fun. It was like a little bit more than what we expected. They had some like female empowerment in there, which is really great. But I mean, the dance were nice too.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so fun. There's a lot of things I still haven't done out here. But when you do come out here, you let me know so we can hang out.
Yes, definitely. Maybe I'll move out there. We'll see.
We're
We'll
hi-
see where I'd end up next year. End of next year.
I was gonna say we're hiring. You know, Vegas is always hiring, I think. It's a great place to live and a great place to, get experience. I mean, there's so many hospitals out here, so many clinics, so many things. And I think it's a great place to start if people are interested. We'll see, but we'll definitely get you back on, in the future. And hopefully we'll get an update of how everything's going. Because when is your estimated graduation date?
January 2023. But I'm testing for my SPI after the third quarter. So I say end of this year. And then they said that I can take the exam end of next year. So like before I graduate. So yeah, so end of next year is what I'm thinking at.
Yeah, it's coming quick. It's coming quick. We're
Oh
already
my goodness.
halfway done with the year.
I know, that's crazy. That's like COVID has happened since over a year.
Yes, it's gone by so fast. I don't know. Last year seemed like it was going by really, really slowly, and now it's just like we're almost to the year. But it's gonna go by fast for you, and I'm really excited to see your page grow and for you to grow throughout this whole thing. You
Thank
seem like
you.
you're super dedicated and motivated, and I'm just really excited to see where you go from here.
Thank you. I love seeing your stories with
Oh,
your like going to the gym. I was like, how does she do it? It's like waking up, going to the gym, and then going to work. Like I see on your videos too. I was like, I would take this time to sleep before I go to work.
it's
but
really hard.
that's I admire you. I was like, one day I will get there, but not today.
You will one day. It's the same thing, just you're not studying anymore, right? So you're just replacing that study time with something else that's going to encourage you in your life, whether it be going to the gym or joining a club or doing volunteer work or doing something else. Yes, ultrasound is hard and yes, you're going to be working a lot, but you also have to do something for yourself too to keep you sane because so busy. I think, I don't know, ultrasound is very much so in demand, and doctors love ordering ultrasounds. So I don't think we're going anyway anytime soon.
No, we'll be here forever
I know.
until like robots take over, but I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, I don't know if it will happen in our lifetime, maybe past our children's generation. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how fast they grow technology nowadays. I mean, you know how fast it's going, but honestly, ultrasound is so tech dependent that I don't see a robot doing our job. But for now, ultrasound techs are very much so needed. and is definitely good field to go into, growing field, especially if you care about your patients and you like anatomy. I definitely think that everyone needs to go to your page and follow you. And I
Mhm.
hope that if anyone has any questions, they please comment down below. I always respond to them. I'm sure if you see them, you'll respond to them too. If you guys have any questions for her, she is out there in New York. So definitely hit her up. And I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much for your time. I feel
See,
like we can talk for hours.
I know we really could. We honestly could. Maybe we can just have another video just talking.
I'm babysitting or dog sitting as
Oh,
a side hustle
ooh,
since
that's
now I'm home. So I'm picking up a dog later today. So
aw.
I'll share on my stories.
Yay! Can't wait to see. Thank you so much for also watching my stories. Sometimes I wonder if people are actually looking at them. I don't know.
Oh, I do.
It's good to know you're looking at them. Yay!
Yes.
So thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys always remember to stay positive, be kind to one another, and stay safe out there. We'll see you guys in the next video.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.